Hi, welcome to my talk about adopting AsyncAPI in Enterprisey contexts. So, as you see, we're moving into the enterprise. My name is Kocot. I'm working for codecentric in Germany as a head of API experience and operations, and also I'm a senior solution architect there. If you'd like to contact me, just use the email address spotted there, or go to Twitter, or go to LinkedIn, what you ever like. So you can find me there. You find maybe a lot of things about what I'm doing there, and maybe we get in contact. But first, challenges of enterprises. So when we are working with enterprise companies, we see a lot of challenges actually, not only in regards to APIs or anything like that. So it's really more about there's a lot of things moving on. So we have a lot of complexity there, so very complex systems. Normally something like SAP involved or any other systems around. So there's a lot of things around. There are a lot of tools actually there. So every team uses its own tools. So we are missing a lot what we might be needing for having. And the teams actually have a lot of ideas. But these ideas are totally different to things on persons you find normally in enterprise. So when you look at an enterprise, in an IT department, you always find these enterprise architects there. So they have their own view on things, and they think they were always right what they do. So they don't really trigger the needs a team has. They're always just focusing on what is the status and how to keep the status available. So there is no real innovation or something like that. So we're really moving into things that we need to really move on. And every team, all the teams there are looking for some kind of solutions. So they want to get faster actually. They want to have the opportunity to really move on, to learn or to do the things actually that are all proven by others. So that we really can think about and say, okay, this is what we really like to do, but not the really old stuff, maybe in some kind of legacy part. So in this case, legacy is nothing really ugly or something like that. So it's really thinking about the stuff that always existing there. So doing things with the existing systems around actually. So really focusing on solutions. And normally when teams think about solutions, they always have APIs in mind. So they really think about, there's like some kind of puzzle pieces. Or when you look at Gartner and any other technology analysts in the market, they always talk about something like composable enterprise and anything like that. So that we really have puzzle pieces, as I said, to put together and make things available. So this is the trick behind doing things, or what the team is really like to achieve in the end. And sometimes it happens that people misunderstand or have a misunderstanding actually of what is an API. I learned a lot of things from talking to enterprises here in Germany, and there was always this quote, everything is an API. So a lot of people were thinking, okay, everything must be an API, which is not quite incorrect actually, to be honest, but it's somehow hard to say something like that, because when it comes to the upper level, so we're getting more on the C-level side, when something pops up like everything is an API, people are somehow concerned about this, because sometimes there is no need for an API because we're just delivering services in the field of integration or stuff like that. So there is no API available, there's just a service running. But this is something to really reconsider. And you can think about this when you have a deeper look into things of governance. You have to be very hard in governance and very quick and moving on towards the things what we have in API governance or service governance and all the things that are actually around to really think about it and make sure that every team understands what is the standard the organization would be like to follow actually. And then you have the possibility to really evolve something really, really big. Because in the end, when you think about APIs, when you think about solutions, you have to be very fast. You can't say, oh yeah, we delivered this in 3 months or so. So it's a really short time to market. So you really have to be aware of what is happening there. So you need a lot of governance actually to really make sure that people do the things right, as you already talked about with them actually. So it's really something you have to achieve to really move on and to really think about what is really needed actually in this case. And for that, you again need a lot of tools actually. So there is nothing that you just buy a one-size-fits-all solution. You could do that, but it's not really helpful actually, because when we talk about this, we are here at the AsyncAPI Conference actually. So we have a different type of APIs. So this is something where we have to think about. So there are a lot of API interaction patterns, as I always talk about this, and there's a lot of tools needed actually to really involve this API package as a whole actually. So the thing is, when we think about again the solution part, the teams, what they would like to achieve is really adapting APIs. But the thing is, how can they really do this? What do they need for, and what is the purpose they would like to achieve in the end? So just saying, yeah, we need APIs. Yeah, for what? What would you like to achieve in the end? So this is really the thing about the purpose. So you really have to think about, I need something to enable the teams to really think about APIs. And it's really a good start to think about this API enablement to have some kind of framework for this or process or something to really make sure that the people follow these, I wouldn't say guidelines, I wouldn't say process, that they really follow steps to really engage over time, to really bring value to the company. Because in the end, these APIs should stay forever, but they will evolve over time. So there will be changes. We can really think about, so there will be also breaking changes. Yeah, everybody's aware of this. Oh, there shouldn't be breaking changes, but there will be, because sometimes we don't take the right decision at the right time. This is quite normal. And in the end, forcing teams to really think about this API enablement in this enterprisey context is really good, because in the end, it's all about documentation. And normally when you think about APIs in enterprisey context, it's always about RESTful. RESTful is at the beginning. Everybody wants to have a documentation of what is available as RESTful APIs, but nobody really talks about RESTful APIs in this case. They're saying, we have APIs here. So it's really starting with the RESTful stuff. Over time, there's something happening, because there's a lot of technologies around. I talked about that earlier actually. So at some point, somebody pops up and says, oh, we have also events and messages. And normally then something happened that somebody says, yeah, I read a blog post or something about that. So I read about that AsyncAPI is the rescue for it. So everybody wants to use AsyncAPI to describe things in regards to this asynchronous conversation stuff actually. So everybody is this is the holy grail, we have to use it. But when you talk to the people directly, no one really understands from the beginning what it means actually. For a lot of people, it's just another description, standardization or whatever. But when they look deeper into this, they see, oh shit, it's a little bit different what we see from the OpenAPI side. So we have to think about more, that we need more knowledge on the back end actually. So it's not about just having things done with OpenAPI. Yeah, it's easy to start with AsyncAPI, but having this context, and normally you have this department type of style when you talk with enterprises, you always have to get them all with this API enablement to really make sure that they follow all the guidelines an API enablement team puts up actually. So this API enablement team is to be always on top of them actually. So when you think about when we see this async API stuff and see that we need more knowledge on the backend technology, it's a totally different approach what we have with OpenAPI actually. With OpenAPI, we just write about a contract or describe a contract between a provider and a consumer on the other side actually. So they both know each other, but the provider doesn't want that the consumer does have any knowledge about what is happening in his backends actually. So he's just providing this contract as a whole. So he's always talking about the contract with the consumer and saying, this is the contract you have actually, and this is what I provide to you. You can use it. Does it fit to your needs? Or do you need something different? And in the end, having these APIs, which are just vehicles actually to transport actually or transfer some kind of data stuff, it's really something you really have to think about. Because when you now describe things where you need a lot of knowledge of the backend technology, it's really hard for people doing this API enablement or being enabled to use APIs to really understand the difference at first sight. So it's really something you have to move very slowly forward actually to make sure that everybody understands. So in the end, when you think about to describe things or to describe your architecture with AsyncAPI, it's a totally different approach. Because you have to know to gain knowledge about the backend technology. So in the end, when you force the teams or would like to have the teams describing their topics or whatever you have when you use Kafka or when you use MQTT or something like that, you have to specify design principles and also libraries to cover the needs. And this is really something which is a really step forward, because in regards to OpenAPI, you can always specify design principles. You should do that. But you don't need libraries. These libraries will come up over time because a lot of teams do the same things. Or you have some kind of arrow codes or something like that that you would like to provide in a library actually. But you are not needed to. In this case, you have to actually have these libraries, because there will be people that just use the technology to provide events and messages, but they don't have any insights about what does the technology really do or what it's consisting of actually. So they don't have any ideas about a Kafka cluster or anything like that. So they're just using the things. And in this case, it's really needed to think totally different and say, okay, before we really do that, we have to really specify things, and we have to deliver libraries in this case. Really design libraries saying, okay, this is what you need, you just can reference to it, which is possible within the AsyncAPI specification so far. So in this leads again to another step, to be honest. Maybe to automate things in the end. To really rethink what we've done, because normally it would be better to have something like code first. So there are some code first type of tools available actually for the AsyncAPI stuff, but that might be not the needs for an enterprise, because the enterprise is not thinking in having Spring Boot, having C# or anything like that. They just need an overall type of thing. So this is what I'm really thinking about when I talk to enterprises actually. We need an automation that is slightly code first, but not really code first actually. But it's something that is not API first in this case, because API first would only work with the people who really administrate or do the operational stuff with the with the components in regards to asynchronous APIs actually. And this is really what really comes to my mind when I really think about this. This is actually my opinion. So when I think about what might become next, this is just an idea what I have in mind actually. It's not that there is something still existing or that there is something that you should do or anything. It's just my opinion actually, to be honest. And for me, it's really something to really think about, that there must be a need to really use tools that really admire this library, this principle stuff, to really make sure that people can do these API definitions in an easy way. They should not hinder them to really think about what is needed and what they need. They should support the things they would like to achieve in the end. This is really what must happen to bring value to the whole topic actually. Not to say, oh, this is another specification, oh, we have another technology, this is what you should use and how your message should like, and it's really thinking about what is needed on the developer side to really also understand what am I using there when I have to describe the topic that I provide to other consumers actually, and that they could use this, and that we have value within the company to really present data with this topic, and so on and so on. So it's really thinking about as a whole, not to just saying, oh yeah, we do Open API, now we do Async API. The next step is we do something totally different, GraphQL and all the stuff, to really think about what is the purpose and what is the value we achieve by creating Async API specifications or definitions. In this case, just what is the purpose for the company, and what is the purpose for the users to see what is available. And this is something we really have to think about. For all this, we need a specification. There's no thing that we can really discuss about. We need a specification to be more sufficient in describing asynchronous APIs. There is no need to discuss this already, or in any case, it's really about more thinking about how to adapt the possibilities I have. And this is, in somehow, my closing words with this short presentation. I should be honest, I would have more time actually, but I wouldn't stress it too hard because it's quite late actually, and this is what I leave for now. It's more something to really rethink of, and maybe we can start a discussion about it. So wrapping this up, you find a lot of information by using just the link tree you see here in the slide deck. And if you like, you can contact me via Twitter or LinkedIn, and we have a purely full discussion about what I actually talked about. It's just my own idea of things that could happen in some ways. Thank you for listening to my talk, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.